Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Gersh, and this week we are discussing the upcoming Morbid Hour live stream, which will be taking place on Monday, April 27th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hosted, of course, by Hellhound over at the Horror and Metal channel. Featuring myself, Phantom Video, and Southern Destruction. And this month we're going to be talking all about horror of the 2000s. Yes, we're going to be giving our favorite horror film from each year in the 2000s. That being, of course, from 2000 up to 2009. And man, going through the 2000s, I didn't realize there's so many good horror movies. Because I always consider myself an old school horror guy, but wow, there's actually a lot of good horror films in the early 2000s. And yeah, I'm going to go through a whole big bunch of them, just to show you guys, in case you forgot how many good ones there were. Obviously you had American Psycho, of course, with the great Christian Bale, an absolute classic. You had the Saw films, of course, which kicked off the torture porn genre. And then, of course, you had Hostel 1 and 2, which fit that category quite nicely. You had, Final Destination, kicked off a whole franchise that's still going to this day. You had films like Open Water, really good shark film. You had Jeepers Creepers, of course, that started a whole franchise. Then you had Enter Eli Roth with Cabin Fever. Absolutely love that film. Then you had brutal slasher film, Wolf Creek from Australia. What a great character, Mick Taylor. Come on. Guy's unforgettable. You had Dog Soldiers, fantastic werewolf film. And then from the same director, you had The Descent, absolute classic of the 2000s. You had the absolutely awesome anthology film Trick or Treat. You had Orphan there in 2009. Such a fun film. And you had, of course, the PG-13 era. You had stuff like The Ring, The Grudge, the remakes of the Japanese horror films. You had Cloverfield. You had The Others, fantastic ghost story film with Nicole Kidman there. You had stuff like The Messengers. Then you had, the first 3 films in the Resident Evil franchise. Which is a hotly debated topic, And then, of course, you had Freddy vs. Jason, the classic meeting of 2 immortal horror icons, which was stuck in development hell for so long, but we finally did get it in 2003. And then, of course, you had a lot of big remakes in the early 2000s. You had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, of course. You had, the Rob Zombie Halloweens. And you had, Friday the 13th, which is still the last film in the franchise. We have not gotten another Friday the 13th film yet. You had Wrong Turn, which started a whole franchise, of course. You had the brilliant horror comedy that is Shaun of the Dead. Here's some underrated films from the 2000s. You had Valentine, very underrated slasher film from the 2000s. Absolute classic in my eyes, an absolutely underrated gem that not enough people talk about, and that is Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. We are finally getting a sequel, so I hear. And here's one I never hear anybody talk about, but this is actually my favorite performance of King Hodder outside of course, the Friday 13th films he was in, where he played Jason. But here, you know, he's playing a serial killer, the BTK killer, which was, of course, Dennis Rader. I think he's really, really good in that one. You had this brutal, crazy, just insane, sometimes hilarious, sometimes way over the top, and the acting is absolutely horrendous, but hilarious to watch. Gutter Balls. You got Wakewood, which is actually a Hammer horror film. That little resurgence they had there. You had Dagon from Stuart Gordon, very underrated film. You don't hear people talk about that one too much. Then you had Beyond Reanimator, which at first I didn't care for that much, but I definitely have come around to it over the years. I do enjoy it. Yeah, so we're going to be talking our favorite films of the 2000s, of each year in the 2000s. Also, we're going to be talking about the legendary death metal band Death, pioneers of the genre, a band that never released a bad album. We're going to be giving our top 5 Death albums, and that's going to be so fun to talk about. So, absolutely love Death. The late, great Chuck Schuldiner, what a legendary artist, what a legendary band. So don't miss it, guys. Monday, April 27th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the Morbid Hour live stream. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Urshan, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared. Good evening, folks, and we got some brand new merchandise for you over at www.thehorrorcona.com, and that's CONA.com. Representing the Horror Corner. Great new design. We got the Morbid Hour live stream there, you got the Horror Hangout live stream there, and you got my nemesis, the Dark Fate. So grab your t-shirt over at www.thehorrorcona.com. And we also got this beautiful new mug. Look at that. Very, very cool. Thought that came out really nice. So grab your merchandise today over at www.thehorrorcona.com.